You don't see it, but they do. Why? You doubt your attractiveness. You think you're ordinary. But the way people watch you tells another story. You sit across from people who admire you and don't even know it. You walk into rooms where your presence changes the atmosphere and assume it's nothing. You scroll past your reflection, overlooking what others would stop to cherish. Why? Because you've lived your life behind a filter, not a digital one, but a psychological one. And that filter is made of all the ways you were taught not to see yourself. You were conditioned to feel invisible. Let's begin here with the quiet truth no one told you. Attractiveness isn't just about appearance. It's about energy. It's about presence. It's about the way your nervous system speaks before your mouth does. But if you were raised in environments where love was conditional, where approval was earned, and where silence was safer than self-expression, then somewhere along the line, you learned this. If I go unnoticed, I can't be rejected. And so you didn't. You shrank. You taught yourself to not be seen. And now, even when people do see you, you don't believe them. You think they're just being polite. You downplay compliments. You question their gaze. But Carl Jung once wrote, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But what about what attracts others to us, and we still don't understand why? You reject the parts of you that others love. There's a psychological term for this, positive shadow. Jung taught that just like we repress our bad traits, we also repress the good ones we don't feel worthy of. So yes, you may be repressing your own beauty, your charisma, your warmth, your softness, your strength. You've buried the parts of you that make others fall in love, because you were never taught to recognize them as lovable. But make no mistake, others see it. And not just see it, they feel it. 1. You're deeply empathetic, and it shows. You listen in a way that makes people feel like they matter. You hold space with your silence. You notice when someone's tone shifts, even slightly, and your body leans in without thinking. That's not just emotional intelligence. It's an energetic magnetism. People crave to be understood, and you do that without trying. But you don't see this as a strength. You've been told you're too sensitive or too emotional. So you hide the very quality that draws people to you. 2. You laugh with your whole soul. Not everyone laughs freely, but you do, and when you do, it's contagious. Your joy isn't fake. It's not curated. It's disarming. It reminds people that they're allowed to exhale. And even though you don't think twice about it, others do. They remember it. Because your laughter doesn't just come from the surface. It comes from a spirit that still believes in the goodness of life, and that is deeply attractive. 3. You're not addicted to attention, and that's rare. In a world obsessed with being seen, you're not out here begging for validation. You don't perform. You're not trying to impress. You're just you. And that self-containment is magnetic. There's something incredibly attractive about a person who isn't chasing the spotlight, because the spotlight ends up chasing them. 4. You radiate presence, even when you're quiet. You might think of yourself as low-key or even invisible, but the way you hold yourself, the way you walk into a room without forcing yourself to belong, people notice. They may not always say it, but they feel it. Presence is not loud, it's felt. And when someone carries themselves without needing to dominate, control, or perform, it sends a signal of calm confidence. And that's the kind of attraction that lingers. 5. You carry depth, and it shows in your eyes. Let's talk about your eyes. The way they search the room before your voice joins the conversation. The way they soften when someone's hurting. The way they hold silence without fear. People notice that. They might say you have kind eyes, or there's something about your gaze. But what they really mean is, you've lived, you've suffered, you've healed, or at least tried to, and it shows. There's a kind of attraction that goes beyond skin. It's the kind that feels ancient, like the soul behind your eyes has walked this earth before, and people are drawn to that, even if they don't understand why. So, if you've ever wondered, why don't I feel beautiful? Why do I feel invisible? Why does no one notice me? The truth is, they do. You've just been trained not to believe them. And here's what no one told you. Attraction begins with your relationship to yourself. And if you keep rejecting the most beautiful parts of you, you'll never believe the ones who try to show you what they see. It's not that you're not attractive. It's that you haven't been safe enough to see it. But you're safe now. And we're just getting started. The quiet glow, psychology of attraction without trying. The most magnetic people aren't the loudest. They're the ones who don't even realize they're glowing. Let's pause and really think about something. What if the kind of beauty people are drawn to isn't the kind that tries? What if the kind of attraction that lingers, the kind people remember, comes not from effort, but from alignment? It's not about being the most confident, the most stylish, or even the most charismatic. It's about being real and whole and present in your own skin. That's what makes you glow, and you may not even know you're doing it. 6. You have a calming effect on people. Have you noticed how often people vent to you? How strangers feel safe enough to open up? How your presence seems to soothe? This is not just coincidence. It's nervous system recognition. Psychologists call this co-regulation. When someone's calm energy helps regulate another's stress response, you don't need to say much. Your energy says it for you. You can exhale here. You don't need to perform. You're safe. And that is beautiful. That is rare. 7. You're comfortable with silence. There's something so attractive about someone who doesn't rush to fill every silence. Someone who knows the difference between presence and performance. You don't talk just to talk. You speak when it's meaningful. And when you don't, it's not awkward. It's real. People trust that kind of stillness. It signals depth. It shows emotional maturity. And in a world full of noise, your quiet is magnetic. 8. You're curious, not judgmental. You ask questions like, what was that like for you? How did that change you? Tell me more. That's emotional intelligence. That's presence. That's connection. Most people listen to respond. You listen to understand. And that makes people feel seen. Not for who they're pretending to be, but for who they are when the mask falls off. That kind of curiosity is rare. And it's stunning. 9. You don't need attention. And that makes people want yours. Here's a paradox. The less you chase validation, the more attractive you become. Because what you withhold becomes valuable. When people realize you're not trying to be liked, not hungry for approval, not waiting to be noticed, they start wondering why. They start leaning in. They want to know more. And that energy, that restraint, that centeredness is unforgettable. Carl Jung spoke of individuation as the journey to becoming your whole self. Not half a person looking for another half, but a person who radiates completeness. You embody that without realizing it, and it draws others in. 10. You see beauty in others, and that's a reflection of you. There's a reason you notice someone's eyes when they're talking, or the way someone's voice trembles when they're speaking their truth. You don't just see people, you witness them. And here's the truth. You can only see beauty in others if that same beauty exists in you. Your ability to recognize light, depth, and goodness in others means that somewhere, quietly, those same things live inside you. Even if you've forgotten, even if you've been told otherwise, you're not drawn to that kind of beauty by accident. It's a mirror, and people feel that, even when you don't. So many people spend their lives chasing external beauty. They invest in appearances, in trends, in validation. But your kind of beauty, it doesn't shout, it whispers, it radiates, it lingers in the heart of those who experience it. And it's time you own it, because the glow you carry isn't something you earn. It's who you've always been, beneath the noise. You don't need to try harder to be attractive. You just need to stop hiding the truth of who you are. And the truth, you're already glowing. You just haven't looked in the mirror long enough to see it. When you stop chasing approval, you start attracting everything. You don't need to convince anyone. Your presence is the message. There comes a moment in your life, not when you finally become more attractive, but when you stop begging to be seen. And in that moment, something shifts. You stop contorting yourself. You stop over-explaining. You stop walking into rooms hoping someone will find you beautiful or lovable or worthy, because suddenly you realize you already were. You just didn't believe it yet, and when that belief shifts, so does your energy. That's when the world starts noticing you, not because you've changed who you are, but because you've returned to who you've always been. 11. You set boundaries without apologizing. There's a quiet kind of attractiveness that most people overlook. It's the kind that says, I respect myself too much to tolerate confusion. I don't abandon myself for connection. I can love you and still choose me. People feel that energy, even if they don't say it out loud. They recognize your internal stability. Setting boundaries isn't rejection. It's a declaration. I am no longer available for anything that costs me my peace. And ironically, the more self-respecting you are, the more others are drawn to you. Why? Because you feel like home to yourself, and that makes people want to stay. 12. You can walk away. Most people don't realize this. What makes someone magnetic isn't how much they're wanted. It's how clearly they're willing to leave what isn't right. When you can walk away from drama, confusion, disrespect, or breadcrumbs, you exude something powerful. Self-trust. It's not the kind of attraction that sparks a quick thrill. It's the kind that makes people pause and wonder, what would it take to be worthy of that presence? What kind of healing did they go through to carry themselves like that? The power to walk away makes you stand out. It tells the world, I am not available for emotional crumbs. And that is irresistible. 13. You don't compete, you align. Attraction isn't about being better than someone else. It's about resonance, the way someone's energy aligns with yours. And when you stop comparing yourself, when you no longer enter a room trying to be more, you begin to align naturally with people, opportunities, and love that match your energy. Carl Jung spoke about the self as the full integration of our inner parts. When you become that whole, not performing, not striving, not hustling for worth, you shift from chasing to attracting. You're not trying to prove anything anymore. And that's the moment people start wondering what it is about you. Because there's nothing louder than someone at peace with themselves. 14. You glow when you're doing what you love. Have you ever noticed someone who just lights up when they talk about something they're passionate about? That spark, that glow, that aliveness, that's attractive. That's unforgettable. And here's the secret. You do that too when you're in your zone. When you lose yourself in creating, caring, dreaming, building. The way your eyes shine. The way your energy lifts. The way your spirit feels untouchable. That's beauty. And people notice it, even if you think no one's looking. Because nothing is more magnetic than a soul that's turned on by its own life. 15. You're not afraid to be real. Here's the final one. And it might be the most powerful of all. You don't hide behind masks. You don't pretend to be perfect. You don't shrink from your flaws. You cry when something hurts. You laugh too loud when it's funny. You say I don't know when you don't have the answers. And that realness, that raw, unfiltered humanity, it gives other people permission to do the same. You may think you're being too much or not enough, but the truth is, you're being honest. And in a world drowning in performance, your honesty is radiant. So let's recap. You've spent so long trying to earn attraction, trying to be better, trying to do more. But what if the most beautiful, magnetic, unforgettable version of you is the one that's finally done trying? What if your power has been hiding in your softness, your strength, your silence, your nose, your laughter, your truth? What if the glow you've been chasing is already yours? You become magnetic the moment you stop needing to be. We've named 15 subtle ways, but the real work is to begin believing it. And that begins with you. You are already enough. Let the mirror catch up. You are not becoming attractive. You're remembering that you always were. There's something no one ever taught you. You were never supposed to earn your worth, not by being more confident, not by losing weight, not by dressing louder, not by shrinking your voice or polishing your pain. You've spent years staring into a mirror, trying to catch a glimpse of who others say you should be. But what if the reflection was never broken? What if you were just looking through the wrong lens? Attraction is first a feeling, not a look. People will remember your laugh more than your lipstick. They'll recall how you made them feel, not what you were wearing. Think about it. You don't fall for someone because they check all the boxes. You fall for how your body relaxes around them, for how your soul lights up in their presence, for how seen and safe and understood you feel. And guess what? That's how people feel around you too. When you stop hiding the real you. Real attraction lives in the subconscious. Carl Jung taught us that the subconscious shapes our reality far more than we know. That means the way you carry your pain, the way you soften around beauty, the way you smile when you're finally free. These things register in others before you even speak. Your trauma is not your identity, but your healing, your growth, your scars turned into wisdom. That's what makes you breathtaking. Even if you don't know it yet, the mirror lies, but your energy doesn't. Maybe you've been conditioned to doubt yourself. Maybe someone once told you that you weren't beautiful, or special, or enough, and maybe you believed them. But hear this now. They were wrong. You're not hard to love. You're hard to fool. And that's not the same thing. Your sensitivity isn't a flaw. It's a superpower. Your softness doesn't make you weak. It makes you irresistible to the emotionally safe and deeply grounded. So stop trying to force the mirror to tell you what your energy already reveals. If you could see yourself through their eyes, you'd be amazed. You'd realize that what you see as awkward is actually endearing. That your quietness isn't emptiness, it's peace. That your intensity isn't too much, it's depth. That your emotions aren't dramatic, they're honest. That your presence isn't invisible, it's unforgettable. You've just spent too long in rooms that didn't know how to recognize you. But that doesn't mean you aren't radiant. It just means it's time to step into new light. The truth, you were attractive when you were broken too. Not because pain is pretty, but because you never stopped loving. Even when you were hurting, even when you were lost, even when you were rebuilding from scratch. There's something deeply beautiful about someone who's been shattered and still chooses to show up. That's what you've done. And now, it's time to see it. Let the mirror catch up. You're not here to beg for love. You're not here to convince anyone. You're not here to fix yourself into someone else's fantasy. You are here to remember, I've always been worthy. I've always been seen. I've always been enough. I just didn't believe it yet. Let the mirror catch up, because the world already sees what you don't. And now, it's your turn. If even one of these signs made you see yourself differently, even for a second, then this video did its job, because deep down, some part of you already knew. Comment below, I'm learning to see myself clearly, or share the subtle sign that resonated the most with you. If you are on a journey of healing, self-worth, and deep emotional growth, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded that they are seen, that they are enough, that they are already glowing, because the mirror isn't the truth. You are.